Assalamu alaikum, dear students, good day. Today we are going to have our unit 4 of the module History of Muslims Rule in Spain 9129. Unit 4 talks about the consolidation of Umayyads. We're going to learn the Caliphate's rule under Hisham-I and Hakam-I. We also going to learn and know the explanation how they administered their rule, and then the last and the final objective of the unit is to know about the rule of Abdul II and his policies in the government. For this particular unit, we have consulted three major sources, three major historiography sources, and these are from Sayyid Amir Ali, A Short History of Saracens, published in 1977, and the second is Muhammad Anayatullah, Undulus Ke Tarikhi Geographia, which is in Urdu, and that is published in 1986. And the third is A. Brian Catless, Kingdoms of Faith, A New History of Islamic Spain, published in 2018. Talking about the Abdul Rahman bin Muawiyah and the succession crisis, that was basically the Abdul Rahman died on 7th October 788, and after that there was a succession issue, and we saw that uncertainty regarding which son should be succeeded. And the sons of Abdul Rahman bin Muawiyah were Suleiman, who was born in the east, and Hisham, who was born in Cordoba. That means that it was already in Spain in 757. And the third son was Abdullah, who was later became the influential figure who was not in the beginning. And then the choice of successors the people had at that time were mainly Hisham or Suleiman. A decision which was made by the dying Amir, means Abdul Rahman bin Muawiyah, and that was the Suleiman whose age, bravery, and support from Syrians were very much strong. On the other hand, the outcome of that Hisham's arrival in Cordoba, which led to Suleiman's defeat and exile to North Africa. So the succession crisis ended up in a fight between these two brothers, Hisham and Suleiman, and at the end, Hisham won the succession through the war, and the Suleiman, he had to flee to North Africa, from where basically the Arabs came in. So after having that war, Hisham had very much challenges. It was not easy for him to establish his rule in a very strong way. And in that way, he had minor opposition, mainly from internal sides. Of course, like there were still followers of Suleiman who wanted to have Suleiman back in the throne. However, they did not succeed. On the other hand, the second challenge was from Saragossa and the Banu Qasi. That was the tribe which established since the beginning of Muslims' rule in Spain, and they were very much influential and strong. And that part of Saragossa where Muslims faced the strongest resistance when they tried to capture it. So that was very much strong, and especially by the guy named Sayyid bin al-Hussein al-Ansari, which at the end took Saragossa in 789. And then afterwards, he was defeated by Musa bin Fortun. And then there is another challenge from Matruh, who was the Suleiman's son, which briefly took over Saragossa in 791-92, but was killed by Amrus bin Yusuf, leading to the city's re-establishment by the Umayyads. And at the end, the major challenge in the early stage of Hisham's rule was from Mu'alads. That was the rise of Banu Qasi and Banu Amrus, which marked the entry of Muslims, Mu'alads, into political life. Mu'alads basically was the title given to the neo-Muslims of Spain. So they started having some kind of political influence after the Hisham's rule, and that is how Hisham took the throne of Muslim Spain. And if we talk about the military campaigns during his lifetime, so he had various other campaigns after crushing these early challenges. He was in general known for his modest lifestyle and religious devotion. During his rule, he had a couple of great achievements, and one of them was the completion of the first phase of Great Mosque in Cordoba, which is still there, and our poet, our national poet, Allama Iqbal, has written on that mosque. So that was started during Hisham rule. And then there were successful military expeditions against Christian territories, where in Asturias, Ebro, Narbonne, and Carcassonne. Carcassonne is basically Narbonne and Carcassonne are the French territories, but the Asturias and Upper Ebro, they are the Spanish territories in today's map as well. On the other hand, he had the delegation of campaigns to Abdul Malik and Abdul Karim bin Mughith, where they wanted to have the close relationship, settlements or establishment together. And then he has also very strong cultural and religious influences during his rule. On the next is the strong ties. He had the strong ties with the Maliki school of law. From the four religious institutions, the Maliki institution was the strongest during Hisham rule in Spain. And then it became the dominant part of Al-Andalus Muslims' life. Maliki law was very much practical and concerned with daily life and commerce. That is how it was strong during Hisham rule. After Hisham's death, he died on 17th April 796. So he had basically 10 to 15 years of rule, and then his second son, Al-Hakam, succeeded him as Amir. So if we talk about the Al-Hakam's characteristics, so the historiography, or the historiographers, they mention him as a tall, haughty, ruthless, and autocratic ruler. He was known for his cunningness, for his ruthlessness, and swift responses to threats. So he was very much smart, very much strong ruler when he succeeded in 796. So during Al-Hakam's reign, there were also a couple of revolts. So that means that his rule did not go without having strong challenges. And one of the strong revolts by Suleiman and Abdullah, both exiled brothers, and his uncle, they were both exiled, attempted to regain power after Hisham. However, they failed. Suleiman, he wandered through the country, eventually executed in 800. So, and Abdullah, when he tried to establish himself in Valencia, which is southern part of Spain and the port city of Spain, very strong, the third largest city in today's Spain, so later known as Al-Balansi. So he basically established himself over there. And then there were a couple of revolts in Cordoba in the year of 805. And in that revolts, there were conspiracies to overthrow Al-Hakam, which was led by 72 different and strong conspirators, and at the end, they were executed. There was a rebellion in 818, which was started in Al-Rabad. There was uprising, and then suburb south of Cordoba, but it failed as well. And then different causes which the conspirators or the opponents of the leader, the Amir, took were taxation, military recruitment, and various exclusions of the elite. And that is how the excluded elite, they came together against the Amir. And then we have seen that the rebellion, they were crushed ruthlessly, and then the suburb was destroyed completely in favor of the Amir. Al-Hakam, whose last year they were not very strong either, and then he left a couple of points for his legacy, and his decline came basically towards the end of his reign. He became reclusive. The succession went established by appointing his son Abdul Rahman and Al-Mughira. He established these two succession plans, but then Al-Mughira, second in line, he pledged allegiance to the court and public. However, Al-Hakam, when he died in 822, leaving behind a strong Umayyad rule. The last and the final objective of the unit is to know about the rule of Abdul Rahman II and his policies in the government, who ruled from 822 to 852, the longest one of the longest rules in Muslims in Spain. If we talk about his early life, so he became ruler of Al-Andalus at 30 years old. and then he was experienced in political and military affairs, and he had ruled for 30 years. The historiographers, they mentioned him as a very strong, tall guy, stooping with wide dark eyes and a henna-dyed beard. His political shift moved away from his father's repressive policies, focused on being responsive to Islamic sensibilities and the needs of the people of Spain, his citizens, including Muslims and non-Muslims. His political and administrative reforms, he was the guy who established very strongly Muslims' rule in Spain, and he was very cunning and smart as well, like his uncles and father. So he basically formalized a strong government structure in which he introduced the positions such as Prime Minister, and at that time it was called Hajib, and then Wazir, General, purposefully officials. And these were the two important government structural points during his rule. He established Diwan, which was the office of tax collection, and the other state institutions such as Sikka, means coin minting, and Tiraz, official textiles. About the bureaucracy, if we talk about, and the governance, so he increased formalization of the administration. He established a very strong bureaucratic system that lasted until the end of the Umayyad rule in Spain. He was relied on very much trusted advisors such as Isa bin Shuhaid, who was the Wazir and Hajib, and Muhammad bin Rustam, who was the military ruler. And if we talk about the cultural and intellectual flourishing, his cultural influence of Zaryab was an influential Iraqi musician who became a cultural icon in Cordoba. Until today, we listen to his music in today's Andalusia. And then there was a set trends in music, dress, and food shaping Andalusian culture up till today. At the end, if we talk about his encouragement of intellectuals, then he was very much supported by various scholars, poets, scientists like Abbas bin Firnas, known for attempting to fly, and then his architectural contributions were amazing. If we saw the Cordoba Mosque, including the expansion in Cordoba and Sevilla, symbolized his commitment to Islam and his political legitimacy. If we talk about his military challenges and religious tensions, so he had opposition, or you could say the military opponents in the form of Vikings. And the Vikings basically tried to invade Spain in 844, where ships attacked Sevilla, but were decisively defeated by Abdul Rehman forces. And that resulted in fortification of Sevilla. Sevilla is basically one of the very strong and beautiful cities of South Spain, which is close to Morocco as well. And then he established a naval base in that area to prevent future attacks. If we talk about his religious martyrdoms, so he had the small group of Christian martyrs led by Eulogius, publicly insulted Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, which was later leading to the execution. So he showcased the religious tensions between Muslims and Christians in Cordoba during his particular time. So he was very much strong, as I said earlier, and his 30 years of rule established the Umayyad rule in strong ways, and that is how we see that they ruled until the end of the 15th century. So this is the main points of the Unit 4, Lecture 4 of the Muslims' rule in Spain. The code is 9129 with the objectives of having 3 major rulers during the consolidation of the Umayyad Empire. So best wishes and have a good day. Thank you.